Did you encounter Breezy or Stevie first?
I want to say Stevie B. David and I, keeping in that same vein, looking up local labels, we came across, this local label that had a couple of hits under their belt. They had BVSMP, I Need You, and they had, what was it, the Miami Jam Crew with Pretty Girls. And that's how we discovered Stevie B.
The interviews are all going to be like this. Do I got that right? They're gonna,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone's
You're
going to
like,
have to
huh?
order.
Yeah, was that right?
So tell me about the dropping off or performing or auditioning, whatever it is that made you. How did Stevie learn about your skill?
We left him a voicemail, or I guess it was tape then. I don't think it was voicemail like it is these days. But we would call all these stations, and David would be DJing kind of live in the background, and I'd rap some. I don't even know what the hell I said. I know it ended with a phone number, and we ended up getting a call back from uh, Stevie's label. Turns out to be those cats from Miami Jam Crew, and I can't remember the guy's name, but they were like, "Hey man, why don't you guys drop off a demo?" So we drove up to Commercial Boulevard. I mean, we were down in Miramar, Pembroke Pines area and stuff, and that seemed like a day's drive as kids. But we made our way up there. We dropped off a tape. We were like halfway, man. Did we leave a tape with these guys? Man, they could put our shit out next week, and we couldn't do anything about it. But we dropped off a little demo, something we had done at some little 4-track studio somewhere, and got a call later from Stevie B. Y'all boys want to make a record. Why don't y'all come up here? So we met with him. Little dude, comes down. I'm pretty sure he was cutting up fruit, barefoot in the studio, wife and kids, and this white dude hanging out. I think it was Tolga Kadis. But was what it was. We talked to him, seemed to be pretty down to earth. One night he called us, hey, you want to make a record? We went over and we recorded a track called Get Off. And that was like my first airplay. I don't think I ever got any airplay with Foresight.
87, I think, was Get Off. At that time, who produced Get Off?
I did all the music. I mean, and David did the scratch and a little mixing.
You did it in Stevie's studio?
Yeah, we did.
How did you learn the equipment?
Well, I want to say originally he had an 808, and I got lucky enough to borrow some of his stuff. But we used to go to various studios, and we'd have people usually doing the programming for us. You'd kind of walk in, you had an idea of what you wanted to do, but not like today, where you went in with a track and you just laid vocals. Just, banged out a beat. Got lucky.
You got some airplay on it, and Stevie wanted to do another track, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, were you excited that you got some airplay, and then you were going to move to the next track?
Super excited that we got some airplay with it. We had to really take the bull by the horns ourselves, because Stevie wasn't real fast on moving to, say, the next track. So we had actually discovered this studio in Davie, Florida, called Hideaway Studio, a guy by the name of Jimmy Starr. We would go over there, and we could lay the beats at Jimmy's. I mean, he had everything we needed, everything with a MIDI keyboard. He had his rack modules, and I laid a beat that I was, it started at the house in the ranches, my mom's place, with a Casio SK1 sampler, sampled the guitar riff from Hey We Want Some Pussy, and came up with that little da-da-da-da. It allowed me to record it, and I used to hang out at this, I don't know if you know Aventura, Florida. It's not known for booty music that I know of or anything like that, but there was a place called Randolph's at Loman's Plaza, and that's where I got the idea for that hook. When I say chicken, you say head. I knew Luke and them had hooks like that, call and response type deals. Just lucked out with that little riff. Did it all at Hideaway. Ended up playing it for Stevie. I was thinking at best, Chicken Head would be a B-side. And I had another song called Get Up and Dance, which later became a song called It Ain't a Crime. And that was really what I was pushing to him. He was like, nah, man, this your hit right here. This your hit. And he was calling out Chicken Head. So he came to Hideaway. It was the first time he met Jimmy Starr. Played a little bass riff and added some claps. I mean, he was clapping me to death. I remember being particularly pissed off that he put all those claps in my record. I was like, man, it didn't have all those claps, but he said, man, just you got to have an open mind. I was like, all right, my mind's open. Ended up finishing the track. He liked it. My understanding is he played it for Funky Frank at Power 96 at a gas station. And they put it in one of those Battle of the Bands, and we were like #1 for 7 nights straight. And I didn't even know they were playing it on the record until one of my boys came by. Hey, man, did you hear it? I was like, did I hear what? He said, he knows. I was like, what the fuck do I know? I don't know anything. And they're like, dude, they played your record on Power 96. And I remember that was like a turning point for me, you know. People would actually ride out to the ranches and pick me up and hang out, you know. My life changed that day.
Was Part of Your Body a hit for Stevie at that time?
Stevie had actually just kind of, I think when we met, when we dropped the demo off, he was in New York working that deal with LMR for Part of Your Body. And when he got him back, you know, I don't know if he had any Part of Your Body money yet, but, you know, he had a record that was playing, and started taking us around with him, you know, to shows and shit. I think probably we were setting up shit for him, you know. Yeah, doing work. we were earning our keep, but you know, it was what it was.
Tell me about how Get Up and Dance became an ain't a crime and the process. Well, let me ask you this: how did you meet Glenn Gutierrez?
Through Stevie B.
Okay, Stevie
Stevie had a ton of guys he just kidnapped from California, I guess. I don't know how they all ended up, but you know, I was around Stevie when he had these, you know, he had Pee Wee, Charlie Panaccio, all those cats, Coro, you know, we called them Bam Bam back then. They had all these guys, dancers and whatnot. You know, I think they had some keyboards on stage that weren't quite plugged in, you know, but they looked good for the girls, you know, and Stevie would go up there and track his ass off. And somewhere down the line, he had these visions like, man, I'm gonna have a band. That's when he started meeting these guys out in California. In comes Glenn Gutierrez, you know, Dajjal Adabai, all these different characters that he brought in, you know, guys who could play. And you know, later down the line after Chicken Head, and we were looking to release something else, came Glenn, and he got involved with the original production we did, and we just kind of redid it. And he added some flavor.